I want to go back to an interview we did earlier with an American from South Carolina who was traveling with the Clemson basketball team and happened to be in this area when the attack happened. Here is our interview with Cobb Oxford.
We were gathering to go to Clemson's fourth and final exhibition game on this tour. We've been to Madrid, Valencia, and Barcelona was our final stop. And just sitting there waiting to go to the bus, and all of a sudden, the best way I can describe it is all hell breaks loose. I saw a car bumper laying in the middle of the sidewalk and people scattering in all different directions. I counted 6 or 8 bodies within a block and a half before they made us go back to our rooms. I saw a policeman with a child in her arms running up the street, and the child was blood-soaked. It was, and this is my first trip to Spain, first trip to Barcelona. It's, La Bamba is like, it's like Bourbon Street. It's like Times Square. There's 2 small roads on each side and a big wide sidewalk in the middle with lots of vendors and lots of street vendors and food. And today it was, it's crowded every day, but there were a lot of people on the street today. And I had actually just walked down that street like 2 hours before the incident happened. So it was just surreal.
What are you seeing now, Cobb? What kind of activity around you?
Well, we're on the 6th floor of the La Meridian Hotel, which is right on the street, and the only thing I can see is a helicopter that's been hovering now for probably close to an hour. From what we're seeing, we're watching the BBC in the room, all of the supporters. This trip is the team and the of course, the coaching staff and the support group, and then we have about 26 fans. We each have a bus. We stay in the same hotels.
Cobb, let me ask you. I want to go back to what you saw when the attack actually happened. How far did the vehicle travel into the pedestrian area, and how many people could you see directly, if you saw the car, how many people could you see being directly hit?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't see the car. It just, like, people started scattering like BBs dropped on concrete. They were running in front doors. They were running in nook and crannies. They were running down side streets, trying to get away from something. The only thing that indicated to me that the vehicle was involved was, like I said, the bumper laying there in the middle of the big wide sidewalk. And I went up to the window, and they were still allowing us to watch then, and probably looked down the street a block and a half, and I could tell there were other people on the ground. So I knew there was a major problem.
We're hearing other reports from witnesses that there was a sense of confusion and chaos. Did you get that sense from where you are in the hotel?
No doubt about it. I mean, it was, when people started scrambling and stuff, I mean, the first thought that goes through your mind is there's some gunfire. It was that kind of scramble. But then it quickly realized that no, I never heard anything that sounded like a gun, that it was obviously a vehicle had been used to commit the act. And I quickly, as soon as they finally, after about, I guess, I don't know, 5-8 minutes, the hotel staff cleared the area, told us to go back to our rooms, and I quickly got on Facebook and Twitter and started contacting everybody I knew just to let them know that I was okay. It had not hit the news yet.
And we're definitely
probably 10 minutes later it hit AP, and it started getting around then. So but we have very limited TV here, and we first saw it on BBC.
And certainly
it's wall to wall now.
Yeah, and certainly, Cobb, we're very happy that you and the ones that you're traveling with are safe and sound. I want to ask you about something you mentioned earlier. You said that you saw a police officer running with a child in her arms or in his arms. Did you see any other children that were injured?
No, I can't say. Most of the injured I saw were males. Looked like they were being attended to by family members, and that was the other real impressive thing to me was, I mean, within a very short period of time, there were policemen everywhere, and then the SWAT teams came in, and then they covered the area. They started directing traffic. I mean, there was a very rapid response to this situation.
Cobb, are you allowed to leave the hotel now, or are things shut down? Is hotel management giving you some idea of what's happening outside?
We haven't been told that we can go anywhere right now, and I don't know what the situation is. Our flight is back to Atlanta. Is supposed to leave at like 10:40 in the morning local time here, which would be like 4:40 in the morning for you guys in New York. So, hopefully it'll be cleared up in the next few hours, and we'll be able to get on that bus and get to the airport.
And that is a question I have for you, Cobb. You sound shaken up. How are you doing? How are you feeling right now?
Well, I've several people have asked me that question, and it's like, you know, we see it on TV all the time, and we see it in movies all the time, and for a split instant, you're going, this can't be real. And it shook me up. I don't know, but stunned is the best way I can put it. I've never seen panic and fear in people like that. It just and I have no idea how fast the vehicle was going, because it got by me before I even saw it. It had to be going, I would say, a pretty significant rate of speed to do the damage that it did. So.
You said, Cobb, that you were on the Las Ramblas, that stretch just 2 hours before the incident happened. Can you give us, you've given us a really great description of sort of, it's like Times Square, it's like Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
Elbow to elbow and elbow and elbow and hip to hip. Now, I was wanting me some American food for lunch, and the line was out the door at McDonald's, and it was out the door at the Burger King. So I ended up eating some Spanish pizza, and then got back to my room, and probably about an hour before it happened. And like I said, we had started to gather to get on the bus for the exhibition game, and then, of course, shortly after the incident occurred, we knew that wasn't going to happen. So
you make your taste in Spanish pizza aside, Cobb, you make a really important point, which Vlad and I have been trying to drive home here, which is, if this was an intentional targeted terrorist attack and police are treating it that way, there are a lot of tourists, Western tourists. That's where you see McDonald's in Europe. You see them where tourists go, and you're one of those tourists. And so beside it being sort of elbow to elbow there, I don't think we can drive home enough that this appears to have been targeted at tourists, this attack.
Well, this is, I think on our little tour this morning, our final tour, we pretty much take a tour every day where we are. There's something to see. Our local guide told us that about 18% of the economy here in Barcelona is tourism.
Yep.
So, I've also told Clemson isn't the only team here. Oregon State's in our hotel, Tulane's in town, and then Kansas is also here. So Barcelona's full of college basketball teams today.
Yeah, they got a great national team there, Cobb. Let me ask you this: have you had a chance to speak to your family and let them know how you're doing?
Yeah, I let my two sisters know real quick, and several friends back home, and told them to spread the word that because I knew Barcelona would pop up on TV and people knew I was here. And so that was my number one goal, was to get the word out real quick, and to the people at Clemson that everybody in Clemson was fine. Everybody with the team was fine.
Okay.
And so we're good. We're okay. We're just kind of hunkered down and waiting now to see what happens.
You know, something you said at the very beginning of our conversation really struck me, which is that out of your window you could see a policeman carrying a blood-soaked baby. Do you have a sense of how quick the police were able to respond to this attack based on your vantage point?
I was very impressed, and I don't know if I said it earlier, but this is our third day here, and we'll walk that street a lot because it is a popular street, and the police presence is very obvious. A lot of police on foot, a lot of police with weapons, and I mean, not just pistols. So they obviously are very vigilant, and but you know how vigilant. I mean, you can be as vigilant as you want to, but then all it takes is one or two nut jobs, and they can disrupt your world.
Cobb Oxford, sir, thank you very much for spending some time and taking us through what you saw, what you witnessed. We are absolutely glad that you're okay. We hope that you were able to get home safely, sir. Thank you very much, and hopefully your family has been watching this and they know that you're okay.
Yeah, have a good trip home, Cobb. Thanks so much.